Right now at 5, 3 candidates are vying to become Wisconsin's next Department of Public Instruction superintendent. What the future of the state's education could look like. And President Trump has announced tariffs on major U.S. trade partners, the impacts these taxes could have on the economy. Plus, the NBA's All-Star game is fast approaching. Which Bucks players are playing? You're watching News Through Now at 5. Thanks for joining us this evening. Less than a month to the primary, 3 candidates are in the race to be the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction's top official. The state superintendent oversees public education across Wisconsin. Ellie LaLiberte is profiling all of the candidates, so you know what the future of Wisconsin education could look like. Ellie?
Brady, state superintendent is a job that only comes up every 4 years, and 3 candidates are vying for that spot. Incumbent Jill Underly, education consultant Brittany Kinzer, and Sauk Prairie Superintendent Jeff Wright. Today, I sat down with Wright to learn about his platform for Wisconsin education. Wright's campaign largely centers around what he calls, quote, mending relationships between DPI and the state's Republican-controlled legislature and Democratic governor, noting his background in Purple Sauk County.
It's hard to find another county that has that sort of balance politically, but as a superintendent, I have to make sure that everybody feels welcomed at the table because our community is so evenly split politically. And so is our state. I think that we want education to be a nonpartisan topic.
Like education consultant Brittany Kinzer, Wright is critical of the current DPI administration's move to lower cut scores in 2024.
My pushback is also on the timing of this. We really need to know whether or not our students are back on track after the pandemic, and that requires a consistent standard year to year.
Wright also notes that both the governor and legislature have spoken against the move to lower testing standards, circling back to his belief that relationships between the agencies needs to be fixed.
So Ellie, now that you've talked to all of them, how are they different from each other?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I've noticed. So Brittany Kinzer, the education consultant, was the first interview that we did, and noticing our conversation, she is pro-school choice. She really much makes herself the pro-school choice candidate. Now, talking to Underly, she very much stands by that cut scores decision that both candidates do not agree with. And then Wright, you know, as from our conversation today, really trying to align himself kind of middle of the aisle.
Yeah, and there's a lot for people to know, so where can they go to maybe find this and start kind of taking notes?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Oh.
We have right now up on our our 3 for the People tab under election 2025. We have all of the profiles for these candidates. You can see the full transcription from our interview. So if you want to know a little bit more about where they stand on all those platforms, it'll be right up there.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Ellie. Well, some snow could be coming to the Madison region tomorrow. What? Snow? I don't remember what that is, Alex.
Yeah, I know. We're in a snow drought. We have seen so little of it in the month of January. I think only 1.9 inches of snow. Now, we're not going to add a ton of snow, but maybe just enough, especially areas north of Madison, north of the Dells, Juneau, Adams, Marquette, and Green Lake counties could see upwards of an inch, maybe 2 if you're lucky, as we go into the Saturday, going into the Sunday time frame. In Maine weather, we'll use FutureTrack to show you that snow evolving across southern Wisconsin. Right now, though, it's still very mild. I'm slightly overdressed. I was a little cold inside, so I thought, I'll just keep the scarf and the warm jacket on. It's 39 in Madison, but 47 hanging on to that warm temperature in Boscoville, 41 right now in Janesville. Here in Dane County, lots of 39s. Where's the warm spot? Sauk City, well, that's on the other side in Sauk County of the Wisconsin River, and we got 41 right now in Mount Torah. Planning our evening temperatures falling through the 30s, partly cloudy skies. It'll be a colder night tonight because we'll have less in the way of clouds out there that we had last night. And we need to talk about an unsettled weather pattern. Not only do we have the weather system that is in the forecast for Saturday and Saturday night, we have an unsettled next week that we need to talk about in a few minutes.
Thanks, Alex. Due to the drier than normal weather, all of south and central Wisconsin is under a moderate fire danger. And now the Fitchburg Fire Department is suspending issuing burn permits. All outside open burnings are prohibited until further notice. In Dodge County, a man is in custody for allegedly stabbing another man. The incident happened Tuesday at a home in the town of Herman. Deputies say the stabbing stemmed from an argument between the 2 men. The suspect faces charges of first-degree reckless injury and aggravated battery. He was also booked on an outstanding warrant. We have an update to a deadly crash in Dodge County. The driver who caused the incident is now facing several charges, including homicide. According to the Dodge County Sheriff's Office, the driver allegedly took a company vehicle without permission and drove it under the influence and without a valid driver's license. He then drove through a stop sign and hit another vehicle. A 30-year-old passenger died at the scene and 5 people in the other vehicle were hurt. The president says he has tariffs in the works for some of the U.S.'s biggest trade partners. A 25% tariff on Canada and a 25% tariff on Mexico are set to be imposed tomorrow. That could affect prices on all sorts of goods. For instance, experts say the cost of a new car could go up thousands of dollars, but President Trump's pick for Commerce Secretary argues that won't happen.
It is just a nonsense that tariffs cause inflation.
We raise tariffs, and that's a bit inflationary. Other countries may raise their tariffs. And to the extent we keep importing from them, that's also inflationary.
The Trump administration hopes the taxes will reduce trade deficits between the U.S. and its neighbors. The Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge heated up again in the final month of 2024. The Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index rose 2.6% year over year in December. That's up from November's 2.4%. The increase, which was in line with economists' expectations, was driven largely by rising energy and food prices. Well, Saturday, there may be picket lines at one of the nation's largest retailers. 18,000 Costco workers are preparing for a potential strike at the company's warehouses in 5 states: New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Washington, and California. Members of the Teamsters Union authorized a strike unless a new contract was reached with the retailer before January 31st, so today. Workers are asking for better wages and benefits. Costco officials have not commented on the matter. Some people at the EPA may soon be looking elsewhere for employment. According to an email, more than 1,100 EPA workers who have been on the job less than a year could be fired at any time. The email says those employees will be looked at individually for matters including job performance and disciplinary concerns. The White House says workers on probation at other agencies should expect to receive the same message. For the first time in more than 25 years, the FDA has signed off on a new type of pain reliever. The drug is a 50-milligram prescription pill that's taken every 12 hours after a larger starter dose. The drug maker says the medicine creates no euphoria or high like opioids sometimes can, so doctors believe there's no potential for it to lead to addiction or dependence.
It's a totally new class of medication for pain, particularly for acute pain. Not everyone needs those potent opioids, even with moderate to severe pain. A large majority of patients need a weak opioid, and this drug is as good as weak opioid. So therefore, it can be very useful.
Doctors stress the new drug may not be right for everyone or for every type of pain. The CEO for the drug maker says it doesn't eliminate all pain, but it reduces it by about half. A Beaver Dam man is sharing his story of determination. Jim Brightsman moved to be closer to his daughter's family so, he could spend time with his granddaughter. But his severe knee pain was an issue. Jim needed both knees replaced, but was not a candidate because of his weight, which was more than 400 pounds. With the help of a doctor, physical therapist, and a nutritionist, Jim was able to lose more than 170 pounds to be eligible for surgery.
It's great. I mean, just to be able to walk the dog for a half hour, an hour now with no issues, not having to stop every 5 minutes because there he is right now making his presence known. But yeah, life in general. I cannot explain in words, I don't think, how wonderful this whole thing has been, even though it's been a 3-year process.
Jim says he can do more activities with his granddaughter. I bet she keeps him busy. And he has the type of activity summer he hasn't been able to plan for the past 25 years.
Almost.
Damian will be a reserve for the 74th NBA All-Star Game next month. This marks Lillard's 2nd All-Star Game nod in a row and the 9th overall in his career. During his 2nd season with the Bucks, Lillard averaged 25.3 points, 7.3 assists, 4.7 rebounds per game. He scored more than 20 points per game 31 times, 30 points, 10 times and 40 points once. He'll be joining his teammate, I think you know him, Giannis, who will play as a forward. The game tips off at 7 o'clock our time in San Francisco on February 16th. That's Brady Reads the Sports for you. Oh wait, there's more. You can watch Lillard in action tonight when the Bucks take on the San Antonio Spurs. The game tips off at 7, and you can watch that on our sister channel, Television Wisconsin. That's 3.2. Okay, that was Brady Reads the Sports. Coming up next on News 3 Now at 5, Alex is telling us about the record-breaking warmth that's coming this weekend. And recovery efforts continue in the Potomac River, how families of the victims are reacting to the ongoing deadly plane crash investigation. And on Wall Street today, it was a bad day for the market. The Dow dropped 337 points, NASDAQ fell 54, and the S&P went down 30. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Recovery efforts are still underway after the disastrous mid-air collision at Reagan National Airport. Erica Brown has more on the crash investigation and the response from the victims' families.
Recovery teams are still at work trying to retrieve bodies and wreckage from the icy Potomac River.
We expect to recover all of the bodies. We're going to have to work with the salvage company to do some of that work.
Nearly 50 investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board are looking into the devastating collision of American Airlines Flight 5342 and a Black Hawk helicopter. Investigators recovered the plane's black boxes, which they hope contain a record of crucial flight details.
Give us a lot of data points. They can tell us about communications that we may not know about.
Preliminary flight data indicates at the time of the crash, both aircraft appear to have been flying at about 400 feet. Military helicopters are supposed to stay below 200 feet. CBS News has learned 2 air traffic controllers were each doing multiple jobs at the time. Former acting FAA Administrator Billy Nolan.
They are well qualified and they are able to multitask. By that I mean you could be handling, even singular controllers are handling multiple flights at any busy airports.
The NTSB will look at staffing along with mechanics, environment, and other factors in their investigation. They have warned against speculation which could be harmful to the probe and to victims' families.
I couldn't have asked for a better son.
29-year-old helicopter crew chief Ryan O'Hara survived a tour in Afghanistan, but was sadly among the victims of Wednesday's deadly collision. His father, in a TV exclusive with CBS, says Ryan loved his job.
They would often do night missions in D.C. He loved it, and most of the guys that he flew with loved it. And he loved his flight crew.
The 67 victims of this tragedy include members of the U.S. figure skating community, many of them young people. Erica Brown, CBS News, Arlington, Virginia.
Remains of 41 victims have been recovered. Recently, President Trump took aim at the previous administration's diversity efforts in the hiring of air traffic controllers. The president of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association says all air traffic controllers have to undergo a rigorous years-long process before they can be certified. And that includes an IQ test, medical screening, academy training, and simulator training.
You can hire 50,000 people, but 2 to 3 years from now will be the first time that you ever see one of those controllers actually make it to being able to talk to aircraft on their own, and that's less than 2% out of 50,000 that would make it through.
The Federal Aviation Administration said in September the agency had more than 14,000 air traffic controllers. But the head of the Air Traffic Controllers Union says there is still a serious shortage, with only 10,800 doing the job. To our weather now, we'll see some snow before another day of record warmth. Here is Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington. Alex.
Are you enjoying the roller coaster ride, Brady?
What a ride.
It is. It's been quite the ride for many, many weeks now. And the ride here that we've got, unsettled weather, and then we've got to insert a day, as you just said there, Brady, of unseasonably warm temperatures. I want to start off here with the future storm lineup. It's rain and snow showers later Saturday that will mostly stay to the north of Madison, but heads up, next week is looking on the unsettled side as well. Nothing unsettled about right now. We got 39 in Madison, 41 in Janesville, low to mid 40s, upper 40s in southwest Wisconsin. I said that would take place today, and a little bit cooler off towards the north in towards the east. Here in Dane County itself, lots of 39s pretty much everywhere, although we'll go down the highway to Mount Horeb. You're at 41. We'll swing up to the north on 12 on the other side of the Wisconsin River, and we got 41 in Sauk City. Planning the night tonight, temperatures dipping down from that 39 into the lower 30s as we head towards 9 o'clock. We'll add a couple more clouds overnight tonight, but the skies will stay clear enough that we'll see overnight low temperatures dipping down to 19 in Madison, 18 up towards Marquette and Green Lake counties, a little bit more mild over towards Prairie du Chien, down to Platteville, down to Monroe in the middle 20s. These are warmer temperatures than what we would expect for this time of year still. And even on Saturday, low to mid 30s, so upper 40s over southwestern Wisconsin. Those temperatures are also pushing 5 to 10 degrees above normal. Just not that really warm stuff that we experienced today in the past couple of days. But we got another chance of that really warm stuff. But not after the snow. Here it comes Saturday, 1, 2 o'clock up towards Juneau and Adams counties. And to make note here, take a line, let's say, from Richland Center to just north of Madison over towards Watertown and points towards the north and towards the east. Better chances for that rain-snow mix. Where there isn't the rain and the snow falling from the sky, that would be over southwestern Wisconsin. We could be looking at a little bit of mixed freezing drizzle overnight Saturday night. So don't let your guard down. Could have a couple of slick spots anywhere in southern Wisconsin. And it's not until later Sunday afternoon that we clear out. The earlier we can clear out, the better chance, putting the thumbs up there, that we would have temperatures a little bit warmer than currently forecasted. I'll show that to you in a second. An inch lucky in the Dells, maybe 2 up towards central Wisconsin. This is not looking like a big snowmaker for southern Wisconsin, but heads up, both our European weather model. Take note, here's Madison, lots of green, purples, and blues over the upper Midwest. And then just behind me here, also take note, an update here with the GFS. That's American weather model, a little bit more to the east, but consistent on Wednesday that we're looking at the likelihood of a mixed bag of precipitation with that wintry weather event on Wednesday. And that's following Groundhog's Day coming up at 6. The Groundhog's Day forecast will we be warmer than 46 on Sunday? And I'll let you know how much snow we can expect with that weather system next Wednesday. That's coming up at 6.
Thanks, Alex. Speaking of our animal kingdom, polar bears can survive in some of the world's harshest climates, and scientists now know how they can roll around in the ice without getting it stuck to them. Researchers found the natural grease on polar bears' fur, made up of cholesterol and fatty acids, helps to repel ice, allowing them to slide down icy hills without getting coated in it.
Motion is already tough enough. If they get weighed down with a lot of snow or ice, that could be the difference between them sort of catching a seal or not, or being stuck to the ice.
The more you know. Engineers say the discovery could be used to create new anti-icing products for industries that deal with the cold, perhaps making better skiing and snowboarding equipment. The Super Bowl is in a couple of weeks, and now may be a good time to upgrade your TV. We'll take a look at which items will give you the best bang for your buck. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
The Super Bowl is fast approaching, and this is the time of year it's always popular for TV sales. Michael George takes a look at the current options on the market.
Big screen TVs are bigger than ever. 55 inches used to be considered large. Now that's ballooned to 98 inches, or even a whopping 115 inches, which is about the size of a queen bed. TV expert David Katzmeyer from the review site CNET says their survey found the biggest TV most people would put in their home is 65 inches. And he says the 65-inch TCLQ M8 is his pick for best overall TV. It sells for around $900.
Our best pick for TV for the money. So it's not the very best picture quality available. It's also not the cheapest, but it's right in that sweet spot.
If you're focused on the best picture quality and willing to spend around $1,500, he recommends the LG OLED C4. And if you're on a budget, CNET likes the Samsung DU7200.
Better picture quality than a lot of the other budget TVs out there. It's brighter, and you can get this thing at a 55-inch size for less than $400.
Katzmeyer says whatever TV you have, make sure it has the optimal settings for the big game. Even though most TVs have a sports setting, he recommends the movie setting.
Now, that's generally going to give you a darker picture, but what you can do is use that accuracy of the movie setting and then just go in and increase the brightness or the contrast control. That will get it up a little bit brighter.
So no matter what happens on the field or during any sport, you'll be watching on a screen with the sharpest picture quality. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Well, here's a shocker for you. Most food advertised during football games isn't good for you. What? Well, researchers found about 10% of the commercials during a typical NFL game advertise food, and the median amount of sodium in that food, more than 900 milligrams, or more than a third of what you're supposed to have in an entire day. But experts say a lot of prepared foods that you buy at the grocery store also contain high sodium. Music's biggest night returns to television this Sunday with comedian Trevor Noah hosting the Grammys. The ceremony will air live from Los Angeles with an impressive list of performers. Excitement is already building thanks to the nominations. Beyoncé is adding to her all-time record number of nominations with 11. Kendrick Lamar, Charlie XCX, and Billie Eilish have 7 each. The ceremony will help raise money for those affected by the Los Angeles area wildfires. The Grammys will air Sunday at 7 p.m. Central on CBS and will stream on Paramount+. We have a final check of the weather when we come back.
We'll have new details on the investigation of the mid-air collision near Reagan National Airport and recovery efforts at the crash scene.
We're also learning more about the people on that American Airlines jet and on the Army helicopter. You'll hear about some of their stories for the first time tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Just in time for Groundhog Day, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has released a list ranking its top most accurate weather groundhogs. The top-ranked weather groundhog, New York's own Staten Island Chuck, with a whopping 85% accuracy. Sun Prairie's Jimmy, go Jimmy, sits at number 6 on the list with 60%. And Puxatawny Phil, well, he barely cracked the list at number 17 with a dismal 35%. But of course, here we all trust Chief Meteorologist
Well, I
Alex
appreciate
Hamilton.
that.
Yeah.
Let's not do a calculation on my rating. Let's keep it on the groundhog.
Okay.
Jimmy.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
He's watching.
Well, Jimmy, don't steal the forecast here. Actually, I hope Jimmy's not watching because I don't want Jimmy to steal the forecast. Let's do the groundhog forecast. I said I'd hold it off till 6, but given the piece here, we're just going to do it now. So, Jimmy, will you see your shadow on Sunday? The sun rises at 7:11 a.m., and I'm expecting cloudy skies at this point in time. That's following the little bit of light snow that we get tomorrow night.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you back here at 6.